Yep, and I just hit the last button, so it takes like 20 seconds to buffer it out before it goes through. And whenever they're watching, they're going to see it on a time delay of 20 seconds or so.
That's better.
But I'm going to keep an eye on it at the end of the thing. I'll take a look and see if there are any questions that we ought to answer.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And will you do that just during the public portion, or will you monitor that throughout the meeting?
I will figure I'll check at the end of the meeting.
So will you be able to
All
tell
right.
us if we have public as we start the meeting at 7? If anybody,
What did you say, ma'am?
will you be able to tell us if we have public present at the beginning?
Right now, we have 2 people waiting. It doesn't tell us if we have anyone watching yet.
Okay.
I presume that they'll show up as watchers in a second.
Okay, thank you.
Well, one of them is probably me, so
Oh, okay.
me and one other.
We have a copy of the agenda.
We do, and I will hit my share screen when it is time to show you it. But I emailed out the agenda. I should have printed one for you.
That's
Let me print one for you real quick. So I've got it up. I'm ready for printing.
Something earlier, not at the time we need to start.
Okay, it's printing now. I'll carry it out to you in a second.
Thanks, Scott.
Do you need one too, Kathy?
Yeah, I looked to see if there was anything emailed. I didn't see anything just a little while ago. So
Okay.
We got one.
Yeah, we got them.
But how I don't have a good memory. I read it, but I can't see it when I have this screen up, right?
If I share it like this,
Oh,
you
swell.
guys can see it now?
Yeah.
yeah,
Excellent. Thanks.
Good. And so I'll zoom around on it whenever it is time to share those pieces. Do we want to wait for Tiana, or do we want to go?
Let's go.
I think we go. If it's
Let's
7
go.
o'clock, we go.
7:01.
Okay, give me a half a second to walk these prints out to our 2 local viewers, and then I will be eager to jump in.
All righty, thank you.
At least she was nice enough not to say Luddites.
Yeah. I just live up on North Clay. Maybe you can walk me up one too.
Please and thank you.
Yeah.
And since I only have the voice piece because my computer won't do the Zoom, it would be nice if we kind of this is Fran, if we identified ourselves when we started to speak so that we know who's talking. Until you're familiar with everyone's voice, it's a little difficult sometimes to know who's saying what.
Right on.
Okay. Thanks, Fran. We can do that. That's Helen.
It would be helpful for me. If those of you who could see who's talking, it probably doesn't make any difference.
Right. That was Helen that said, okay, we can do that. Hello?
Okay.
Okay. All righty.
Yeah, I heard you. Just keep it on mute. I'm on this all day long, and I'm always telling people, you should mute your screen, mute your screen. Before I say something, this is Robin. I will.
Is Robin saying something?
Yeah, her sound is not good, is it?
Right, it's like delayed.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm here, but I'm hearing well. Whether you can hear me, and I'm hearing well. Okay, I'm just saying I'm on mute, so I'm hearing. And if I need to say something, then I'll try to chime in, but I'm hearing.
Okay, your connection is kind of breaking up a bit, so don't be surprised if we ask you to repeat yourself.
All
All
right,
right.
Becky, you want to do roll call?
Okay, we will start the meeting here at 7:04. And we have Helen Douglas Taylor,
Present.
Kathy Ben Boydell,
Present.
Ruth Benner,
Present.
Mary Kay O'Neill,
I'm here.
Julie McBugnitz,
Here.
Robin Drew,
Here.
John Knowles,
Here,
Fran Ventimiglia.
Here.
And so currently absent is still Tayana.
All right.
Okay.
So,
I have my phone in here in case she calls me with technical problems,
okay, thank
but
you.
I have gotten no call yet.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
We're gonna use, Becky said was nice enough to send this to us, so we're gonna use the Robert's Rule of Order, which means I can ask, is there any objection to approving the minutes from the February 24th meeting?
I move to accept the minutes as presented.
So if there's no objections, it just means that we can use this unanimous
Yes.
approval.
Right. She found a rule that says if there's a vote where we are certain which way it's going to go, you can just call for objection. And if there's no
Right.
objection, you consider it passed and moved on.
Yes,
We don't have to do a move in second for really obvious stuff.
right. Okay. So next is the director's report.
Okay. So I've been so busy running around setting up tech that I haven't reviewed my director's report. Let me scroll down there.
Can I ask Helen if she could point her screen down a little bit?
Down.
Because I can't see. There you go. Yeah.
You want to see me?
You are.
I do, Helen.
What?
Just want to see without seeing you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There is a record of the emergency measures that you all approved
Yeah.
that we'll get to for revalidation in a minute. There is talk about the new e-card option, and essentially we've given out a few of those now with no problems. And we've also been pretty generous about extending due dates, even though we don't see picture ID right now. If someone calls in and says, how can I renew my card because I can't come in, we'll be like, yeah, we'll just extend it for a while, come back in when we're open. We're being really generous with all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And you've read all the other stuff, I'm sure. And then of course there's a lot under let's see, boy, this is a big one.
Yeah.
Reopening, yeah.
The big thing is the draft plan,
Right.
which I hope that you've all had a chance to read through,
Uh-huh.
or those of you just now got a copy, now would be a good time to read through it. And that's where me and the full-timers got together. We've consulted with read the experts, consulted with other directors, and came up with this plan. But I thought I'd point it out to you specifically because I figured there'd be questions of that thing specifically. So I guess
I
at that
do.
point I'd say,
Okay.
who has questions?
I do, Helen.
Mhm.
Governor Parson said we can open the city on May the 4th. So my primary question for you is that where how do you feel about May 4th?
No, the Governor
Okay.
Parsons has reopened the state as a whole on May 4th, but he's also given leeway for local governments to have stronger restrictions in place. And as
Correct.
of last I heard, Page is looking at opening up parks again, county parks, but they're still on schedule to consider whether or not to reopen businesses at the middle of May. And we have to be in compliance with both the state and the county, I believe.
Okay.
Plus the MLC has not had, that the last meeting that we had, no one was willing to open. We have our next meeting. I think we're meeting weekly now, so it should be this Thursday. So we'll see. But my own criteria that you see right in there is I want to make sure that hospital usage has been going down for a couple of weeks
I agree.
because it's all about managing that hospital usage and not overflowing the hospitals and, causing people to not get treatment or people with other illnesses to not be able to get in because of the COVID. And so that's what I'm also looking at in addition to the hard criteria that we have right there.
I agree with that.
I would be surprised if it's
Do you
2
have
weeks.
masks and gloves?
We are ordering gloves. We are ordering 2,000 gloves. We have a package of gloves, these blue ones here, still that would allow us to do the background stuff. And we should have the big delivery of gloves within a week and a half or so. So we should be good with gloves. For masks, Tanisa is actually sewing masks for all the staff using the criteria, using a pattern that follows the criteria from the CDC for non-medical personnel masks. And so it's like multiple layers of fabric that each filter different things. In fact, this is one of the prototypes that I was wearing today.
Okay. So I've been making masks as well, so I can make you all some as well.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Tenesa's planning on making them for all the staff. So I will let you know if Tanisa says that she's worried about getting them in on time.
Okay.
And you may also want to make masks for the board.
Okay. I mean, the more you have, the less you have to wash them.
This is true. This is true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So we appreciate anything you can do. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that it would not be a bad idea to order some disposable masks to have on hand in case a patron would want one, because I'm assuming when patrons are coming in, we would like them to wear a face mask. If they don't have one with them, it would be nice to have a disposable to offer rather than making them feel as if they have to go away.
We
They're
have
hard to find, and I've been looking at them, and you can't get them before June. If
Right.
that.
We've ordered them, but the shipping delay is long.
Yeah.
We intend to do another round of looking, because we did a round of looking at local stores to see if there are any that people had missed. We're going to do another round like that probably next week.
So Tayana has joined us on the group chat now. Do we want to?
Thank you. Hey, Tayana.
Hi.
Hey, Tayana.
Hi, Tana.
Hello. Hi, Tiana. How doing? Sorry I'm late.
That's fine. I want to remind everybody that we are live streaming to YouTube. And we know that there's at least a Boy Scout group that wanted to watch. So you just probably ought to presume that people are watching now or will at least be watching later.
Okay.
We are in the middle of the director's report. I'm essentially asking for any questions about it, and especially pointing out that there's that long plan reopening stages that might be worth asking questions about.
Okay.
Scott, this is Fran. How many square feet is the library building?
90 feet by 100 feet.
And do we have anything do we have an occupancy requirement or an occupancy maximum?
That'll come whenever Paige loosens the criteria. I would presume.
No, we should have an occupancy criteria
for the
the state's criteria for the whole building. It's usually set by the fire department.
I know what they are off the top of my head for the 2 rooms, but I don't know for the whole building as a whole. I don't know if I've seen it or not.
Because that's part of what they're using, the state is using to determine the maximum number of people you can have in the building.
All right, I'll start looking for that.
And looking at their website, that was in addition to staff. So that amount of people in addition to staff. And if you go to mo.gov, they explain that and their formula in the frequently asked questions on the reopening plan.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on the director's report?
I was going to ask about the quarantining the items for 24 hours. Those are, I was thinking maybe the, recommendations for 48 hours sometimes for things like plastic and cardboard and stuff like that. Is that, I don't know. I think you err on the safe side, err on longer.
Well, the way we have it planned out, it'll be more like a day and a half before we touch anything. But the Institute of Museum and Library Sciences actually did research with actual library materials where they infected them, let them sit and tested them to see how long. And their answer came out to be 24 hours. But that's being validated by another research organization using actual library materials again. And so if that result comes different, then we'll quarantine for longer. The 24 hours is the current plan. That's a minimum, and it may end up being more.
Yeah. Okay.
Any more questions on that part, on the part of the?
No, I find it to be thorough and well thought out. Thank you, Scott. You guys have done
Draft plan.
Thank you. Yeah, I've shared it out across the state, and a couple of other directors have said yay because they're using it as their base.
Good.
Okay. Treasurer's report.
Yes,
There's
good
no
evening,
more
everybody. Yeah, I had a chance to look. I had to look at February and March to get caught up. I was running a little behind, but everything looks good. I kind of glanced through the QuickBooks file and looking for any large or unusual transactions that weren't already talked about or discussed somewhere in the meeting minutes. And I did not see anything. Everything looked good. So thank you.
Any questions? Additional questions? No. Becky, do we need to do a verbal vote on the votes when we to extend on under old business 5.1 and 5.2?
No, I believe this is one of those cases where you can say, are there any objections to this motion and read the motion? And if there's no objection, then it would.
You'd want to read off the motion. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any objection to approving the validation of online vote where I move that we treat the extended closing like a short-term closing by paying staff? Objection to the vote that I move that we cancel the March meeting, board meeting? New business. Look at that. Budget, finance.
Do you want me to go ahead and talk about it?
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is our preview budget. The official first look budget is next month, and then you guys will approve budget in June. And you can see here, we're looking at about the same for the income for the county tax. Obviously less for fines and fees because we're going to get rid of fines in about a month and a half. June, July, yeah, about a month and a half. Presuming that we're going to move forward with that plan, which I intended to move forward with, unless you guys have an objection. And you'll see that the numbers are not that radically different. They're pretty well, we got an increase in personnel to accommodate salaries or potential raises. And like I mentioned before, we've got our new person on board that is already factored into this amount as well. Other things don't move so much. Increase in library materials, we're looking, let's see, exactly the same. Library service is the same. Operations is going to reflect increasing costs with credit card processing, and equipment maintenance is going to be like computer stuff. But we're not.
Copier.
And we're getting a new copier. We hope to get a new copier.
Our copier fixed rate is expiring in May.
And then the reduction in improvements is a reflection of how much money is left over, really. So like we had planned, we have our big list of priorities as far as projects to chase. How much we chase in a given year will depend on how much improvements funding we have. So it's all very similar to last year, not radically different, because that's the way we do things. We'd like to be consistent. Any questions about this preview budget?
No.
Anything else you want to add, Becky?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
Scott, do you have a date for the new hire, or are you just waiting till all of the verifications come back?
His first date is scheduled for the 18th. He needs to finish. He's currently working at a academic library, so he needs to finish out his semester before we can start here.
18th of May.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I can go ahead and give you his name as far as that goes, because he's official now. Joshua Zink is his name, and he's been doing cataloging for 6 years, I think it was. So he's got a good deal of experience. He should be a good fit. So we hope. We always hope that.
Any other questions? Somebody sleepy?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I should have had that on mute.
It's okay. Julie, that's all right.
Thank you. Thank you, Helen.
You're welcome. Our councilwoman isn't on, is she?
Well, we got two more things under general before we go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm moving on.
631, reschedule appreciation dinner or just give milestone.
Oh, right. Thank you. Let me move on.
It's essentially an open question for you all,
Right.
because I don't know when will we be able to schedule a gathering of people?
That's
It may not
my
be for
immediate
many
thought.
months.
Yeah.
What will it take for the majority to feel comfortable with that?
Right, exactly. And staff are not going to feel comfortable with that for a good long time.
No.
So my suggestion is that we just go ahead and skip the appreciation dinner for this year and give out the milestone benefits that were scheduled for the staff members. And then just try it again next year.
What are milestone benefits?
People that have reached their 5-year service anniversary get a amount of money equal to X many hours of work. 10 years, amount of money equal to more hours of work, 15, 20.
Yeah.
I got a pin for 25 years.
Cool. Speaking of which, well, we'll continue with this, and then I have something to show you in a little bit.
Are there any conversations about that? Anybody feeling that we should have an appreciation dinner?
In the near future. I don't think we should schedule anything.
In 2020?
No.
And maybe longer.
Okay.
Okay.
If everyone agrees, then we'll just go ahead and give out the milestone benefits and move on from there.
Okay.
Really quick for the last point, I wanted to let you know that we have a new collector's pin for the summer reading program, which is going to go online this year, but I thought you might like it. If you can see it on my little thingy
Uh-huh.
bar,
Oh, that's
Mhm.
it
neat.
is the boy out front.
Yeah.
With the
Oh,
family's
yes.
permission, we did a pin of the boy out front, and it says celebrating 90 years Ferguson Municipal Public Library.
Nice.
So whenever we can see each other in real life again, I'll give you each one of these.
Oh, that's neat. Mhm.
Okay, one last point that we need to cover.
The reappointment of board members. Julie, I think you're the only one that had not responded as of yet.
Oh, okay.
Are you staying with us?
Well, I'll respond.
Huh?
She'll respond by email. All right, so Tina,
Why not?
You said yes?
Sure.
You said yes?
Sure.
Sure?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
so there are 3. It's in the email or
Right,
in the
the
board
other two.
packet.
Mhm. Do we have to do something official? Other than-
Email Octavia Pittman at
That's
the
right.
city
That's right.
and let her know that you intend to stay on.
Right on.
And if you're not going to stay on, you need to let Helen know so she can start talking about
Everybody said yes, right?
Yes.
Yes?
I'll
Yes.
still, yeah.
I know I heard from Ruth. I didn't hear from Julie, and you said you heard from Tia. Right?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
staying on.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. And our councilwoman is not on, correct?
Correct. I haven't seen her.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, or statements for the good of the whole? John, are you awake?
I'm awake.
Oh, okay. I was like, is he asleep?
Me? I was trying to think of something to say, but
Huh?
I'm good.
Okay, I'm glad we're all good. I'm glad we're all safe. I'm glad all of our families are safe and well as well.
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
Indeed.
Indeed, that's a
Yep.
blessing. Yeah, I'll take it. Well, if there's nothing else, I guess this is where we say we'll adjourn.
Mhm.
And that's 7:26.
Okay, and I see no questions on the feed for the live YouTube video. So I think we're good.
We are adjourned.
We're adjourned. Everybody be blessed until the next time.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good
Bye.
night.
Good
Yeah.
night.
Here.
Thanks all.
Thank
Uh-huh.
you.
I hit the leave button.
Yep.
Good night, everybody, and see you
Good
next.
night.
Time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.